Evening, guys. Let's get this stream started. Stormworks tonight. Let's see, here we go. Alright, Stormworks. I'm going to be assuming that people here have not yet experienced this game. So, if you're brand new to the game, then you can use this to follow along, as I'll be explaining quite a few concepts. When we're starting up a new game, I'm going to set it to survival difficulty. Some small changes though. I don't want the advanced vehicles in just yet. I don't want the fuel requirements, I don't want the transmission pipes. I'm not quite at that level just yet. Vehicle damage on, so vehicles can be damaged by the environment as well as collisions. Player damage, that means I am killable as my character. NPC damage, so NPC and survivors have the same mortality. Actually, before I forget, let me set this up in multiplayer because we might have some people joining in later. New game. Survival. No advanced vehicles. There will be sharks. If I'm in the water too long, then there will be sharks. I'm going to turn this thing off. I don't want to be able to teleport vehicles back from anywhere in the map to the workbench. And I'm going to turn fast travel off. So every transport is going to have to be either swimming or maneuvering around in some other form or capacity. Starter base, I'm not going to go with any of the, let's say, cheat tools. I'm going to set the day-night cycle to be quite a bit longer. 120 minutes, and that should be it. Confirm. Now, Stormworks is one of these extremely addictive games. I've put in a lot of hours already. Let's start with the character. Let's look into this briefly. You can change your character as you see fit. There are not too many different options. There are some different haircuts. None of this is particularly interesting because you barely get to see the character. You don't play this game for the character. You play it because you want to be building ships, helicopters, airplanes, whatever suits your need for the mission. This is my character as I have it, and that's the one that I usually use. Now we're up here in the base cabin. This is where you start the game. You can see that this is, well, potentially a sort of envisioned basic cabin that a Coast Guard officer would have. So I got a little firewood over here. I have a stove. A couple of ships out there in the painting. A bin. An old ship's wheel, bed, and a ship in a bottle. This is just your spawn point. You don't do anything about this, really. You go down, because we're on the starter island, and we have a job to do. The thing we have to do is build stuff. Let's see if there's a mission. You press N to pull up missions. I need to store nuclear waste. Now, this is not something they would particularly assigned to the Coast Guard, I don't think. But here we are anyway. So I'm going to toggle this one active, and it's going to show me where that is. It is 4.5 kilometers away. Now, if I go to the map, you can see that this is my beginner's Coast Guard island. There seems to be an oil rig over here, where I can buy crude oil, although I don't need to bother with this too much, because, as mentioned, what I have set up is unlimited fuel or no fuel requirements. A couple of islands here to the south. Considering that they do have a couple of piers over here, there is a structure on here, potentially the hospital. There is another island here. I'm not seeing any docks, so there might not be any particular structure on there. Over here, another island. I think this is a structure. There's another pier. We might see these things eventually. Alright. Time to build a boat, because I need to get my way over there. We're going to turn the music up a little bit. And turn the sounds up a little, up the master a little. That should do. Okay, let's create a vehicle. This is your editor. Now the editor is limited by the box that you see here. So you can only build vehicles as big as that. Any bigger, and the game is going to protest and say, hey, you're outside the building zone, don't build there. This is your base block. Pretty much your standard block, and that's about it. I have 4 different blocks that I can build. Those are the standard block, the wedge, which look like a triangle. You have the pyramid, and I can of course rotate these things around as I see fit. And then we finally have the inverse pyramid. You can use these to build any particular hull shape that you like. You're going to be seeing these quite a lot. Your main building block, though, will be the base one. Now, I also have some other parts, but not a whole lot, because part of the charm of the campaign is that you have to unlock new parts. So, as we're going to be progressing, you'll find that we get more equipment, more parts, more propulsion stuff, etc. What I have now are a couple of door frames. I'm really not sure why I get these, the door frame edge and the door frame corner, because at the moment I cannot really use them. You really need to have something else in order to actually use these, but I'll get into that once we get there. I have a electrical connector, a fluid connector, I have a push button. This thing means if I push it, it'll send an on signal. If I release it, it'll not send the on signal anymore. So for something like a light, this would not be good. I have a small connector, which I can use to connect two other units. I have a throttle lever, and I have a toggle button. The toggle button is one that you do press and it stays on. So for lights, engines, stuff like that, this would work perfectly. I have an engine, and I have a small propeller. I have a bed, a light, a passenger seat, and a searchlight. And up here in vehicle control, I have fin rudders and larger rudders. I have a couple of wheel coasters, but these things are not powered, so I cannot build a car just yet. And we have the pilot seat. And with the pilot seat, you can control any vehicle that you like. Also up here, a handle, a couple of windows, and I'll be introducing those over a period of time. I'm not going to be going into that just yet, because I don't really know if we're going to be having any windows at the moment. And then there is the weight block, in case you need to make, for example, a keel for your boat. Now down here you also have a lot of logic parts. This, you can talk for hours about this. I'm not going to do that, not just yet. A couple of displays. We have a dial, we have a digital display and an indicator light. Unfortunately, we do not have any sensors yet. So I could put a display on my boat, but it just wouldn't do anything, because nothing feeds into that display or into that dial. Alright, enough chatter. Let's build a boat. For this particular one, I'm going to go with a standard boat. So we're going to have a baseline for the boat. This is going to be the keel. And I'm going to turn Symmetry on. Let's make this a pretty wide boat, because the wider it is, generally, the better it does in storms. And of course I can be dragging this. Now there will undoubtedly be things that can be handled more effectively. Things that I just haven't discovered yet that can be done easier than what I'm currently using. That's fine. We'll just get to that eventually. Actually, I'm going to not build this yet. Now the beauty of Stormworks is that it can build the hull for you, at least partially. I'm going to go with an inverse pyramid and park this on the bow of the ship. Drag it up. And now we have a bow shape. Same with the next line, oh. Next line here, there. And then I missed one. Control Z just deletes the blocks that you just placed down, so that's another very convenient way of adjusting the boat. Or adjusting the build, rather. Okay, so there's your basic hull shape. Yeah, no, I can use this as the base of the boat. I do have a couple of limitations, though. I only have currently 1917 blocks in stock, and that's more than enough to build a standard boat. However, once you run out of these, you're going to have to buy them. Fortunately, they're not very expensive, but I only have a stock of 15,000 credits, or $15,000 for the moment. So I need to be a little careful with how much I'm going to spend. I'm going to try and not spend anything on this boat just yet, especially since this boat is mostly going to be a transport ship. It won't really do that much. Not any useful missions. For example, it won't be able to do firefighting, because we haven't unlocked the firefighting equipment yet. We have a Coast Guard without firefighting capability is beyond me, but there it is. Alright, so now we have a basic hull shape. I still need to finish up this line, so we're going to have the pyramid, click that and drag it. And thanks to Symmetry, we now have a hull shape. Okay. I'm going to completely close this off. At least mostly. Because I still need to do some changes here. Out the back, especially on the bottom end of the boat, I want to have a couple of propellers. We're going to go with 4 of them. So we're going to switch to the propeller. To there and to there. And I want to have a couple of fin rudders on there. I'm going to make sure that those things line up neatly, because the fin rudders do tend to stick out a little bit. And a fin rudder is one that is 3 blocks deep, or 3 blocks tall, if you will. So I'm going to put those on the sides. And to make sure that they don't stick out too much, I'm going to have 1 block there, like that. Now, I cannot add the fin blocks, or the fin rudders, in the mirror mode. If I do that, it just doesn't work. Reason for that is that it'll clone it. Here's what happens if you do place it down. Note the plus angle of the rudder on the right, which means if it gets a plus signal, it's going to move to the right. This one's reversed. Now, you can fix this using logic. You can say I want an invert block, which is one of the blocks that you can use here, but it's not ideal. So I'm going to have to place these rudders down manually. Okay, next, we're going to need an engine. And I think for the moment 1 engine will do. This little blue block that you see over here is the center of mass. I'm going to keep that as low as possible. The higher your center of mass, the bigger your chances of capsizing. Not good. So we're going to place that engine down as low as we can. Close up the rest of the boat. Turn Symmetry mode back on. And as you can see, I already spent some money here. It's not anything terrible, but it might have been, yeah, part of the props. That is part of my expenditure for the moment. Okay, let's finish up the hull. I'm going to spin these blocks around, and we're going to be building the first part of the hull here. Or the upper section, if you will. I think 2 blocks tall should be enough. And thanks to the beauty of this game, you can also use the blocks, these pyramid blocks, or the inverse pyramids, in a sort of reversed mode. If that makes any sense. Alright, 1 there. I want... Come on, spin it right way around. Triangle there. And 2 more blocks like that. Okay. I can spawn this in now, just to see how it works. If it floats, that would be a big plus. Yeah, it definitely floats. You could even argue that it's coming out of the water quite a bit. Maybe it doesn't need to be this tall. But I'm not going to go back on it just yet. Edit it. Let's set up the seat. That would be the pilot seat. I'm going to be sitting mostly in front, or in the front part of the ship. Now this leaves a lot of real estate back here. So over there I'm going to be putting a couple of standard passenger seats. This boat is already quite a bit bigger than what you would normally need. Actually, let's get a bit more room between these things. So that I can still walk between them. There. Now I have 7 passenger seats, that should be plenty. Now we need to find a way aboard the boat. I need to have a way to get onto it. So I'm going to have a ladder on these sides. And through that, if I somehow inevitably end up in the water, I can just climb up the ladder and be on my way. Okay, now we're going to set up the controls. You have a couple of different controls. You have these ones, the number inputs, and you have these ones, the red ones. These are just simple on-offs. These ones are actual control surfaces, or let's say these can have a number between -1 and 1. This is just on or off, 1 or none. And this is important because this means that I can have a rudder and a throttle on this, but not on this. Otherwise your throttle would just be 1. Okay, so we're going to have A and D for our rudders. That's going to be steering the boat left and right. And I'm going to have W and S for determining the throttle on the engine. Now we just don't have any way to start the engine yet. So, out of logic mode. And we're going to go and find a toggle button. I am going to build 2 because I'm still in mirror mode. That's fine. I'm only going to be using the left though. I'm going to name this one engine. Default state will be off, so it doesn't actually do anything until I indicate otherwise. And this one I'm going to use to start the engine. Okay, so now I can start the engine, but now the engine isn't transferring any power yet. Now here's a critical difference between basic mode, which is what I'm playing right now, and advanced mode. See, in basic mode I can switch to power here. This is one of the other logic settings. And I can just connect all these propellers up to one engine. If you were in advanced mode, this would look very, very different. And it would be far more complex. Now there are some other things that I could do. I can, for example, put a spotlight on this boat. And the spotlights, you can see it here, it has a plus and a minus, so this thing can swivel up and down. I want it to be able to swivel left and right, so I'm going to be putting it on its side, if you will. And it needs to be with the plus icon going the other way. Come on, spin it around. There we go. Okay, so now I have a searchlight. It seems to be a bit low. Nah, it's fine for now. I want to have a capacity of swiveling this thing around, so I can move it left and right. For that I'm going to use a throttle, and a throttle lever, or throttle lever depending on where you're from. I don't need that in mirror mode, just one. Plus is going to be moving it to the to the right side. Minus is going to be moving it to the left side. Again, we're going to hook this thing up using the logic. So this one, throttle value, goes to the searchlight rotation. This one, the on-off switch, goes to this one. That's the toggle button that I hadn't yet used. So we're going to have the spotlight on here. And actually, let's do this slightly differently, because this makes more sense. Now I know that if I press that button there on the right, that one, I can swivel it to the right. This one will swivel it to the left. So this is going to be searchlight swivel. Minus value, or minimum value, needs to be -1. -1 being swivel all the way to the left. Again, I need to hook it up because I had removed my throttle. There we go. Okay. This should work. Now let's paint it. Anybody have a good color in mind? Let's involve chat a little bit, because otherwise I'm going to be doing all the talking and you might get tired of me real quick. As you can see, you have quite a bit of different paints available, and you can even build, or you can even add your own particular set of paint, or your own particular color. Let's see. I usually go with a shade of, let's see, grayish. Coast Guard white, blue green, orange blue. I can only pick one of those, guys. Coast Guard white is pretty much the basic. It's what you have right now. It looks alright, but they tend to be a bit dull. What I can do is see what it looks like if I make it orange. Plain fill, click there and there. And we're gonna have the underside blue-ish. See, I cannot use the plain fill here because it's gonna fill in the whole thing. I don't want that. So for that I'm gonna have to use the brush. And move that down. Just paint it a bit like that. Now, interestingly, I am colorblind, so I want your opinion on this. Is this blue? Is this just dark blue, or is that purple-ish? I can never quite make it out, so I just usually stick to this part of blue to make sure that I know what I'm doing. Okay, and we're going to go with this color for the upper end of the boat. There we go. Now we have the, well, most of the outside covered. There we go. Dark blue, navy blue. Okay, good. Thank you. Surface of the boat. Anybody have a particular preference for the seat coloring? Because we can also adjust that. I'm going to have the bow a little bit more elegant here. Otherwise you have these edges and I don't like that. I usually just fill those up with the triangles here. And one more over here. There. Now we need to paint that again. Like that. Okay, I'm going to make the searchlight yellow. And then these controls... Ooh, not all of them. These controls yellow as well, so I know that they interact with that. And the engine, I usually make that red to indicate, hey, this is an engine, this is how you start the boat. Okay, seats. We're going to have the seats navy blue. Not that part. Okay, seats are colored. Now we still have this part to do. We might be able to use the plain fill here. There you go. And that part. And then the rear. Okay. Our boat is mostly ready. We just need a deck color. Let's go with a grayish color there. Now we need a name, guys. How are we going to call this this monstrosity? Because it is not my proudest ship. I gotta admit, I am not very good at painting or beautifying boats. I can get the engineering done. I can get that down pretty well. But getting the whole thing beautified or making elegant designs, not really my thing. Boaty McBoatface. Good a name as ever. Alright. Boaty McBoatface. Alright, let's spawn on McBoatface. Okay. Welcome aboard. I'm going to start up the engine, we're going to turn on the searchlight, and as you can see I can swivel this around. The trick is always to get that thing more or less lined up out in the middle. And now we need to go and do that mission because we're already down to 1 hour 8. Moving forward, using W in this case. I don't even know how fast I'm going because I haven't unlocked the speed sensor yet. So it is a bit hard to say how long this is going to take. I don't quite know. I can sort of estimate the speed, but I don't quite know. Now, I gotta warn you, the early missions, they're not particularly interesting. The early missions are just that. They're there to get you started with the game. They're going to give you a bit of cash. They might unlock a few parts for you. But that is pretty much it. Other than that, they're not very interesting. It's ferrying persons from point A to point B. It's making sure you store nuclear waste like this. It's bring replacement parts to, for example, the lighthouse or to a nuclear power plant. Eventually, we can have far more advanced missions. I have had investigate research vessel. I've had missions where you need to put out fires. You need to put out sea fort fires. I've had stranded tourists, rescuing people from fishing boats, rescuing people from submarines. There's all sorts of stuff as far as missions go in this game. And it has, from what I've seen, full workshop support. So that means that you can add all sorts of missions from the workshop. And those can be anything that people can dream up. I haven't looked into that too much, but one of the missions that you can do is, I think, saving 40 people. Or getting people hoisted off the deck. Those are going to be much, much more interesting missions to see. Alright, 3 clicks out. Now, the beauty of it is, this game has trim. If I release W, you can see that the boat just slows to a crawl and then eventually stops. If I press Alt, you're going to bring up the trim. And with this, you can set the trim, in this case the Y trim on the left, to full. I now have my hands off the keyboard. So Especially if you have missions where you need to traverse long distances, you can pretty much put it on cruise control. Have I faced the tsunami yet? Yes, I have. Twice. That was very interesting. The tsunami, I'm not quite sure about the height. I was in the helo when I encountered the thing last, 2 days ago. I had to go up about 80 to 100 meters with the helicopter to avoid a tsunami. That was interesting. And deadly. Especially deadly. Okay, we're closing on the power plant. You can see it there in the distance. That's the part where we need to drop off the nuclear fuel. Again, not really something you would expect the Coast Guard to do. And if you see how this mission is going to progress, what we actually need to do, you're going to be even more disgusted. Trim is like the autopilot you can get later on. Yes, it is. It's a sort of poor man's autopilot. Although, of course, an autopilot is going to actually steer the ship if it needs to. This thing won't. All I'm doing right now are tiny course corrections, and that is all. But at least it relieves pressure from having to push W all the time. And this was 4 kilometers that I had to go. You can have missions where you need to go 8, 10. I think I've had 12 kilometers at the most. This thing is quite slow. But there are all sorts of ships and engines and parts that can help you go way, way faster. Based on experience, I'd say we're doing about 30 to 40 kph with this boat currently. So you can translate that to roughly 20, 25 knots, something like that. Alright, where is their dock? Lovely, it's on the other side of the island. Okay. Let's move around from the left and head into the dock. There are other ways to get onto the island, but the dock is by far the easiest way to get there. It is generally much easier to just go into the dock and get up there than trying to do anything else. Now, in career mode you unlock parts bit by bit, and which part you unlock when seems to be completely randomized. There are instances where you have a mission that you don't have the parts for yet. That's quite unusual, but it does happen. And there will be missions that you simply cannot get to in time because your ships aren't fast enough. That's when you're going to have to innovate and think of something a bit faster. Oh, overshot the dock. Slow it down, reverse it a bit. And we're going to head into the dock here. Now this is a dock that I really cannot do anything with. It's just there. So I can park my boat here, but nothing else. I cannot work on the ship like I did with the workbench. Alright. Let's head up to the nuclear power station. Thanks to this lovely elevator over here. I gotta say, this thing is really well done. Couple of rails on the side. And we can wave to Boaty McBoatface down there. Open the doors, and we're out. Now there's the nuclear waste, these 3 containers. We need to bring those to the nuclear waste storage pool. I'm not sure why, but it seems like all the coast or the maintenance crew from this power station has either quit or died or is not of any mind to be moving these crates around. So that's our job. We're going to be starting up the engine. Turn on the magnet. And the magnet is that little light up there in the front. So, I can hopefully attach this. There we go. Lift it. And we can move over here into the facility and put that stuff on that enormous lift over there. Hey Rudders, welcome to the stream. Okay, we're here. It's only nuclear waste, so I'm sure it won't mind if we just drop it. What could possibly go wrong? That's a bit weird about this game. Sometimes you have stuff like missions where you need to resupply a lighthouse. And one of the crates is labeled Replacement Light Bulb. And you can throw that thing 15 feet into the air and it won't even care. It's just a box to the game. And as I have mentioned, at least in the video that I did on this game previous, it is early access. As you can see, bottom left side of the screen, I'm on version 5.21. And so far from what I have seen, the devs release updates every week. And these can be content updates, changes to the engine, changes to the way that the game handles. They are very, very good at keeping the game up to date and adding new stuff, new mechanics, everything. I'm not sure what they're going to be adding next. I'm not in touch with them, so I don't know what their plans are. And I sort of like that, not knowing what is going to be coming. Just seeing eventually on a Friday afternoon or Friday evening on Steam, hey, it got updated. Well, let's see what they have. Okay. I'm going to get out of the vehicle here. And over here on the back, we have the elevator controls. We're going to go down. We're going to go down a lot. Because this storage pool, as you might have imagined from the distance to the objective marker, is about 40 meters underneath the nuclear power station. Don't ask me why. The game is a little weird like that. And when I initially did this mission, I was like, what the hell are you doing? Why? Why are we dumping nuclear waste into a storage pool? I'm not sure if that's a normal way to go about things. But here we are. Now, the game, if you're playing it by yourself, is perfectly fun. I have spent a lot of time on this game. But you can play it with up to 6 people in multiplayer. And I might do that next stream. We might have one of my friends joining in later on. If you have multiple people on your ship, that is when the fun really begins. Because that's when you can have, for example, one person on a helicopter, the other person in a harness, which is being lowered from the helicopter. And when you have situations like that, that is when you can really get your crewed ships going. When you can have a pilot, somebody operating the winch, somebody getting people into the harness. That is when you can really get going. I need to get this thing out of the way. Because we are at the storage pool. Nuclear waste pool down here. That's it right there. I wouldn't swim in that. So naturally that's exactly what Sparky did at some point because he fell in. He was alright, he just glowed for the next week. Okay, and release the magnet. Goodbye. Okay. Moving back. Going to get the next crate. Now, I'm not really sure why this mission is in the game because we just got a new mission to do, which is medevacing an injured fisherman. That's something that I would imagine the Coast Guard actually does. Storing nuclear fuel? Not really. Maybe escort a ship like that. But I don't believe that those things are transported by ships all too often. At least from what I remember, you didn't have nuclear waste being transported by train. Goodbye. That's number 2. Turn the magnet back on and lower. Now I hope that we can actually get to this thing because it is a bit low. it fell over. This is going to be a challenge. Trying to get this thing off the elevator. Because I can sort of push it around with my character. But it needs to go all the way over to that pool. And I am definitely not able to pick this thing up. I'm just going to have to shove it around. Come on. Off to the side. Out the elevator. There. Oh. That was the elevator ridge right there. Okay, good. Now I can push it with the little crane that I have, but it's not ideal. Because it's going to be even more unpredictable than it already is. Come on. What are you stuck on now? There we go. Well, sort of. Move it. Over there. Come on. There's this little ridge down here, that thing. And the box seems to be stuck on it. Now, I've had this before. And what usually works, it's not particularly elegant, but it works, is you just ram it with the forklift. Or the magnet crane. Let's see. There it is, and... Oh, oh, oh! Not like that. Come on. Off you go. Bit more. Stop mounting the container. Get in the storage pool. And there we go. Okay, mission complete. We have a large rotor, we have a tail rotor, and we have an altimeter. Interesting. Usually you get quite something different. Getting the large rotor unlocked this early is very good. Okay. Unfortunately, this elevator is really slow. And I don't really have any good elevator music, so we're just going to have to wait for this thing to get all the way up. In the meanwhile, let's have a look. We need to medevac this guy, and we need to do it in 25 minutes. He's over there. He needs to go all the way over there. What's that like on the map? He's over here. He needs to go all the way over there. Oh, that's a long, long way to go. That is not going to be easy. I'm not sure we can get there in time. Oh, we're quite close to this base. That's interesting. We're going to try. Eric, welcome to the stream. I just hope that the boat's fast enough for this. Fichi, welcome. And where's my boat again? There's the elevator. That elevator isn't very quick either. Could I walk my way down without dying, preferably? Yep, good. Alright, where's the boat? Right where we left it. Okay. Let's get the hell out of here. Ow. Don't ram your boat into the dock. Come on. Turn it, turn it, turn it. Now it's getting stuck. Reverse. Turn it, turn it. There we go. Alright, 2 clicks out. I think we're gonna have to upgrade this boat to a hydrofoil soonest. Because, as it is, it's okay for speed. But hydrofoils are just, from what I've seen, the fastest ways to get around in this game. Even faster than the helos that I've designed. Now, to be sure, I'm not very fast, or not very good at moving or building helos. See, is that our base off in the distance? No, it's not. I think that's the big island. Isn't it? Yeah, that's the big island. There's an airstrip over there. And there's a terminal down here. Thales, welcome. Now, fortunately I have a couple of seats, so we're gonna have to just plunk this fisher person, note the title, or note the term by the way, fisher person, really. We're gonna have to plunk this fisher person down into a seat and drag him all the way over to the hospital over there. And the hospital is off to the south. Now, it might look like this is the whole map. It's really not. This is me zooming out. That is the map. You can have a lot of different options, a lot of terrain. You're gonna need quite a bit of terrain to move around. Eric, welcome for joining. Okay, there's the fisher person, sort of. You can see the emergency flare that they've put up there. Let me turn the spotlight off. There you go. Now, one thing that they either have not introduced or are not going to introduce is NPC traffic. The game only spawns in NPCs like this once it has a mission for you. So, if this fisher person would not need evacuating, then this boat wouldn't be here. That's a bit sad. I hope that they're going to be adding additional vehicles, but it's a physics-based game, which means, from what I've been reading, that is, see, this actually looks like a boat, as opposed to my dinghy. From what I've been reading, a physics-based game like that is mostly impacting, or is mostly impacted by your CPU. If you add more vehicles, CPU is going to get more and more and more busy. And that means that I don't think we're going to be seeing any large amounts of NPC traffic anytime soon. But who knows? Maybe eventually you'll have to do searches of ships. I don't know. What sort of missions would you like to see on this game? What sort of interesting Coast Guard stuff would you like to do? There's plenty to do on this game. Plenty that you can think of. Now, I believe that's the helicopter base. Yep. Every island that you can buy has either a green, like that, or a red marker, like that. This thing means cannot buy it yet, because it's too expensive. This I can buy. Every island has a specific thing that you can build on it. For example, here, I can build helicopters. Over here, terminal spy cakes, I can build trains, and I can build big ships. Over at the dock that I currently have, so that's the starter island, which is over here. Oh, this is good. We're going to be close to the starter island. This is where I can only build smaller boats. And shit. This is not good. This is what happens when you turn on the autopilot. I think that our fisher person is drowning. Get up the ladder, get up the ladder. Yeah. Now, don't try to sail your boat on autopilot if there's an island in the way. Because I did see the big island, I just didn't see this small thing over here. And this is where I'm currently marooned. Oh, oh, no! It's almost up there, come on. Climb, damn it. A bit more. Nope. I have to drop off this fisher person. So I might be able to flip the boat around. But I'm not... Ooh! I'm not going to be able to do that with her. Here we go. Okay, you're going to stand over there. Yeah, I think we're fucked. We are fucked. There is no way that I'm going to be able to flip this boat around. Right. Now, I have basically two options. I can either swim all the way back to here. The chances of sharks getting me are about 100%. Or I can kill my character, and I'm going to spawn back there. So that's what I'm going to do. You can see that my oxygen bar, the blue one, is going down. How this guy is able to swim with a safety vest on and dive is beyond me. Now I'm out of oxygen. And now I'm out of health. And there we go. Okay, back in the Coast Guard cabin. Unfortunately, now my boat is still out there, and I really have no way of getting it back. Now fortunately I did get a bit of cash, so I'm up to 24,000. I'm gonna have to get another boat. Boaty McBoatface. Yeah, I spent about 3,000 on that just to buy the blocks that I didn't have anymore. We're gonna have to get underway and fast. There's the hospital, very, very close. But I need that fisher person, 2.8 clicks away. I might still be able to do this mission. But we're gonna have to be quick about it and not run into any islands on autopilot. So yeah, I really should not have used the autopilot and then taken my eyes off the screen for a second. Because that is what happens. Better play Wargame. Yeah. At least in Wargame, I haven't seen ships do shit like that. I've seen people do lots of crazy shit in Wargame. But that's a discussion for a different day. And 2.3 clicks to get there, and then I think it was about 4 to get from there. Yeah, 4-ish. Especially with the turn around the island. Around the island, emphasizing here, not exactly trying to go through the island. Anti-drug stuff, yeah, that might be interesting for a mission. Just trying to catch up with chat right now. Anti-drug missions are currently not in the game yet. Won't be combat in the game. No, there won't be combat in, or at least I haven't seen any combat in the game as of yet. It doesn't mean they won't be adding it. They might still add that. Why do I have the captain's seat and steering position at the front of the boat? There's no real reason for that. I could have it positioned anywhere. This is just convenient, mostly. So I can sit in the chair and have a good overview of the boat. Other than that, nothing. You can have it back there. You can have a specific command area far below decks. You can have a bridge with a view of the whole ship. Well, whole ship. You can do anything you like. That's the beauty of this game. And the boat that I've designed now is extremely simple. You can go extraordinarily complex with hatches. You can have lights which are either on, off, or blinking intermittently. You have indicator lights. You have red, green, blue lights that you can change depending on the situation. You have distance blocks. This is very, very much the beginning. And I'm not sure how far I'm going to be able to get in this stream. But just to get a bit of measurement for the other save game that I'm running, I have, I think, about 80 hours into it now. I have unlocked most of the parts. And the logic screen where I was connecting buttons to engines and stuff like that is starting to get more and more difficult to get from one point to another. Because the screen is so cluttered with connections that I can barely see what's going on. Alright. Let's try not to flip this thing either. Okay. Hello, lady. Don't mind us, we're just the slightly less than professional version of the Coast Guard. 3.7. Yeah, we'll be able to do that in 12 minutes. I think we'll be arriving in maybe 3 minutes, something along those lines. And I gotta be honest, the game can have quite a bit of this. Go there, pick up this, drop it off there. And for quite a bit of that time, you can just be transiting. You can just be moving from point A to point B. So it's not unusual for me to have this game open and to also be watching Netflix on the second screen. Or to have this thing set to cruise control, hope that you don't run into an island, and go and get coffee. Not outdoors, but from the coffee maker. So you can have a sort of relaxing, hands-off experience. But that's not always the case. There can be some really, really intense moments where you have a lot going on, where you have time pressure, where it's hard to get everything done in time, or where you're just very much struggling to get the controls going the right way. Engineering, I'd say, is at least 50% of this game. At least 50%. Trying to get everything connected, trying to get everything working, especially in advanced mode, can take a long, long time. And I've had people comment on one of the videos that I did on the game, where they said, yeah, I'm building a boat in advanced. I am 100 hours into building one boat. Damn. That takes a lot of work. That's just how intricate this game can get. Now, I really hope that we're going to be unlocking a linear speed sensor, as it's called. Oh, by the way, oil rig to the right there. A linear speed sensor so we can see how fast we're going. Because if I know how fast we're going, we can then estimate how long it's going to take to get to destinations. And whether it's even useful to take on a particular mission, yes or no. And sometimes it just won't be. Sometimes you're going to have missions where you go, nope, sorry, can't do it. We won't be there in time. And then you fail a mission and it's not game over, but you just missed opportunity. Hold on, is there something in the water here? No, it's just a shimmer from the base over there. There can be crates in the water. Especially at night, they're hard to spot. But if you see one of them, please give me a shout out down below in the comments, because sometimes you might see them where I don't. Those contain additional parts, money, or blueprints. And the game distinguishes between blueprints and stock. Because you can sometimes get a particular part, like an engine, but you only get to use it once or twice. Alternatively, you can have the blueprint for it. And if you have the blueprint, you can build as many as you want, provided that you have cash to do it. Now, I hope that I'm... Let's see. Spotlight off. The hospital... There we go, there's the dock. That's where I'm going to be. Because otherwise we're going to have to be doing some mountaineering. Now I'm sure that the passenger, the injured fisher person, won't mind. But still, I'd rather prefer to get close to the pier here and just drop off this passenger. And by the way, dropping her off here, not enough. You have to get them to the hospital. Surprisingly, whatever their injuries are, they can always walk. That might change later, because it's a bit of an exploit in some sense. But eventually you might have stuff like people who cannot walk. I would actually welcome that. Am I carrying her? Yep, okay. Alright. Flashlight on. There's the hospital. In case you're getting this game, follow the path. Do not try to take shortcut, because it is not a shortcut. It's gonna get you stuck on the rocks. Dios, evening for me. Good evening. But it might be something completely different for you. If I'm not mistaken, then it is afternoon on East Coast US. Somewhere about, I don't know, 3, 4 a.m. There we go. Yeah, we got the linear speed sensor. Somewhere around 4 a.m. in the Asian countries. I think Japan, Australia... Damn it, wrong dock. And let's see, West Coast US is -9 for me, so it would be 12. So that's 12 p.m. over there. What a hospital. Oh yeah. It is amazing the amount of medical work that they can do over there. No, it's just a shed with a bunch of beds. It classes as a hospital. Not even medical beds either, they're just bunk beds. 6 p.m. in Brazil. Okay, nice. Here's the path. Going down. At the moment, I believe I don't have any missions. No, I completed both of the missions that I've had. This is good. Whoops! Okay, slightly overestimated the amount of speed that I had as I was running down that path. Let's see. I need to go back to base. And the base is just north. Set a waypoint. Turn around. And we're going to upgrade Boaty McBoatface. We're going to make this a hydrofoil. Which means it's going to be a lot faster. And hopefully, due to an increase in length, which is going to get quite a bit more stable as well. I have plenty of cash. I have 31,000. That is actually enough to get another part or another island if I want to. But for now I'm just going to stick to this one. This one's fine. I'd rather have a slightly better boat at this point. Now coming back to the multiplayer aspect of this, I mentioned that you can have 6 people in multiplayer. Multiplayer, however, doesn't always work particularly well because the multiplayer is not a dedicated server. It is Steam multiplayer, which means that it is just one person hosting the game. And the game is to synchronize with every client. So the slowest person in multiplayer is going to slow your game right down. And it can just really, really grind it to a halt. Alright, return to workbench. Okay, time to upgrade Boaty McBoatface. First, I'm going to move it slightly further forward. As far as it can go, there. And we're going to be doing some engineering work on it. We're going to be saving this as Boaty McBoatface Mark II. I imagine that in a couple of streams' time, there's going to be quite a lot of Boaty McBoatfaces around here. Take off the rear of the boat. And we're going to make this thing as long as it can be. There we go. Now we're going to be building up the sides again. Actually, it needs to be a little shorter than that. Otherwise I cannot add the engines to it. Let's go with a bit less, like that. Okay, good. We can build the stern. We can get the additional lining of the boat. And we can add all of this. Okay, good. Now, hydrofoils. In case you're not familiar with a hydrofoil, what it does is create a sort of flying boat. That's the easiest way to have a look at it. It creates a flying boat. It flies on these hydrofoils, and in this game you can use the fin rudder to do just that. What I need to do for that is have a flying part, or a part that elevates the thing out of the front and on the rear. Let's go with a bit more. That should be enough. I'm not sure if I can fit 2 in here. No, not quite. Okay, we're going to have to go with 1 more in width. And the angles for this are important. Plus and minus. No, I want that to be reversed. Come on. There we go. I have 1 block in the middle. And I'll have 2 more of these hydrofoils or of these rudders on the side. Like that. This is what the thing is going to be flying off of. If you're going to be lifting this part of the boat up so damn high, that works. Yeah, like a Pegasus, exactly. This will work, but it'll also put the rear of the boat far, far deeper into the water, which generally isn't too good an idea. So I'm also going to have a propeller part, or a propulsion part, on the rear of the boat. And let's go with the same 4 props. Actually, they need to be a bit lower than that. This is where we're going to have the stern hydrofoil. Like that. And then we're going to go 1 block back, 1 block down. And we're going to add the hydrofoil, or the propulsion here. Okay, let's see if we can make this slightly better looking. I'm not sure how much of an effect on hydrodynamics it's going to have. And I also need to add my rudder, because I took that part off. So the rudder, switch it away from split view, 1 there, 1 there. Just to be on the safe side, I'm also going to add 1 down the middle. Like that. Okay, now we need to wire up the logic again. So, first things first, rudders. These things are going to go to A and D. Just your basic steering for the boat. Now I just have 3 rudders instead of 2. So these are going to be the vertical ones. Okay, that's A and D. Propulsion itself, engine, throttle, works. However, the engine is not providing power to anything because it took off the engines, or it took off the props. So we're going to be doing it like that. Right. Next up is controlling the hydrofoils, both the front and the rear. So we're going to take this part. That is going to be how far up or down the hydrofoils are. And this should do. Okay, this one is going to be the front hydrofoils. And this one's going to be the rear hydrofoils. If you're not careful with these things, you will build a submarine. I kid you not, you will build a submarine. We're going to have these at minus 0.4 and 0.4 at the max. Minus 0.4 and 0.4. Okay, so now we have them. Can you build a working sub? Yes, you can, just not yet. Don't have the parts yet. And aside from that, it's an engineering nightmare. Okay, this one's the rear hydrofoils. So, drag these over here and connect those up. I imagine the more engineering-minded of you are already dreaming up all sorts of designs. Connect that here. That's the rear. Front. There, connected. Okay, now we did unlock the linear speed sensor. So we now can tell how fast we can go if we set it up right. First up, linear speed sensor. This thing outputs its current linear speed in meters per second, allowing you to measure how fast your vehicle is traveling. It outputs the speed in one of 4 modes. So, I can have that in the lower section of the boat. That's the speed sensor right there. Now I need to have a display for it. I can just use the standard digital display. In case you're ever going to be playing this game, and I would recommend that you do, the plus goes on the left side for orientation. The plus on the digital display goes on the left. Now if I link these two together now, so that's the display and the sensor, it's going to output it in meters per second. I don't want that. I want it to be displayed in kilometers per hour. For that, we're going to need a logic block. It's not anything particularly difficult in this case. I just need a function. Evaluates, don't look at the description, it's quite complex. Evaluates a mathematical function with one variable input, period. The function can be entered by selecting the component with the select tool. What we're going to be doing is quite easy. This thing, if you click on it, it says fx. So what's your function? I need to be looking at speed. So for functions, let's say conversions. I want to be converting meters per second to kilometers per hour. This is the formula that you use. X times 3.6. So we're going to be filling in X times 3.6. No errors detected. Perfect. Now you connect it up with the logic. This is the output in meters per second. Goes in there. This is the output for the formula. So this is the converted kilometers per hour. And that goes in here. And now we have a working speed sensor. That is all that you do. Okay. If you click on a connection in logic and hold control, you can add as many connections as allowed. Really? Awesome. I didn't know that, but that's going to make my life a lot easier. Thank you very much for that. Okay, the boat's a bit dark, especially in dark conditions, as we have seen. So let's set up another toggle block. And we're going to be adding some lights. I'm going to have a couple of... I just usually go with what I believe to be the naval standard. Which means right on the starboard side, green on the left side. Right light there. This also helps to identify your own boats, should you ever lose one. That happens more times than I care to admit. And we're going to have a green one over here. And yes, I will paint those things over later. Green one over there. Green one over here. Okay. This is going to be the toggle button for the navigational lights, or as I generally refer to them, the nav lights. I want these things to be on by default. So we're going to be using that new control trick. Oh, this is perfect. I wish I'd known this about 100 hours ago. Thank you very much for that, Thomas. Okay, so now we have our navigational lights. I could get a slight structure built on this boat. Unfortunately, I don't have doors yet. They're not unlocked yet. I might be able... Let's see. Windows. Large corner window. Let's see how far I can get with the windows that we have, or with the parts that I have. Windows are very finicky in this game, though. Especially the triangle ones. I generally don't get those things lined up properly. Oh, hold on. Are they interfering with the button? Is that the problem? Wait one. This can be a standard triangle like that. I'll paint these things in later. I want a large diagonal window up here. Ah, Searchlight's in the way. Goodbye, Searchlight. Like that. Now this is what I mean with the game being a little finicky about the windows. I want to have a couple more of these slanted ones, so large angled windows. Can we put those on here? Sort of. Yeah, they connect to this part, I think. The weird part is, you can... Yeah, there we go. Now I can put them on here. And now I can get the blocks off. Don't ask. It's just weird like that. So, I need to add a few more of those. Just as a temporary measure. Come on, get out of the way. There. Large angled window. And I probably need to do the same thing here. That would make it very, very tall if I were to take that route. I'm not sure if that is going to be ideal for this particular way. No, let's not do that. Let's add this thing here. Put that over there. You have another one of these slanted ones. No, that's the wrong one. Yeah, I don't have the right part yet, I think. Okay. Large corner window over there. Then for this part, we're just going to have to go with a couple of, well, fillers, really. Yeah, we'll just go with this. That's fine. Add a couple of these here. Is that one set up? No, it's not properly set up. Come on. There you go. Hang on. Ah, we're just one block short. We're just one block short from getting that thing set up properly. Alright, fine. Set up the last one. There, 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 and here. Nope, missed one. That one's crooked. Let's miss two. And turn that around, there. It is sort of starting to look like something, but I don't really like that much. No. Back to the drawing board. I'd rather have another one of these windows over here. And just try to make this thing filled up a little bit. Like that. See, that's better. Or at least not as bad as. The small angled windows, we can add a couple more to this. Provided you can get them high enough, which I currently cannot. Game is just hell-bent on fighting you. I might be able to fit the triangle in here now, though. There. It is sticking out, though. So we need to turn that around. Like that, but slightly angled. Come on. Yeah, it seems to be hell-bent on fighting me on this. Okay, now we can add this window here. And we can pull up this part even further. I think I need to go with a triangle. Yeah, like that. Why won't you fit? You will fit. There we go. Boating with boat face is looking quite different already. Quite different indeed. Let's drag that along. Oops. I could even have that searchlight on the top of it. Put that thing back on the top. That should work. I just hope that the boat isn't going to be too top heavy right now. That could be a problem. Ah, it's too high. Bring it down a little. Alright, where's my spotlight? There. Redo the logic. Spotlight was this one. Yep. And the swivel was that one. Okay, all done. Now I can remove this line over here. Let's set up a sort of in-between segment. Like that. Oops, that's a bit much. There we go. Now, the problem with this is that your passengers don't really have a lot of room. So I'm afraid that for my passengers, I am not going to have any windows. This is a Coast Guard vessel, not a pleasure yacht. The windows might be too low, come to think of it. They're probably in a position where I cannot actually use them. I'm gonna have to move them up a little. This is probably better. Like that. Yeah, that'll do. And fill it up like that. Good. Now I need to even this surface out a little bit. And do the same thing over there. Okay, if I would want to place a seat for a passenger. Oh, this is not too bad, actually. This is not too bad. I can work with this. Yeah, this is fine. I can even have a bed in here. Now, in case you're wondering, why the hell would you want to have a bed? You can either place a couple of... Or you can place a person in it. Not a couple of persons in one bed, please. You can place one person in a bed. And you can sleep in it yourself. And if you sleep in it yourself, time is going to progress faster. And if that happens, then it's going to progress until you get another mission. It looks like it might be a little top heavy. Yeah, it might. It very well might. We'll just have to see how it goes. And if it is going to be too top heavy, I'm going to be adding more weight to the keel. Fill that up. And it needs to be a bit more. One more there, one more there. All right, close it up. Sort of. As I mentioned, I don't have a door. So I will not be able to actually close this compartment fully. It's just going to sort of sit there. Which is very unfortunate. Because it means that water can and will get in. Okay, we can place a couple more large windows down there. Come on, up you go. There we are. Okay, boating boat face. Very, very different boat now. Don't forget the ladders. Good point. If I would put the ladders over there, we wouldn't very well get in the boat. See, that's the stuff that I'd usually just forget. So very much thank you for reminding me about that. Had you not, I would seriously be spawning it in and they'll go, huh, I cannot get in this boat. Stuff like that happens all the time. And up you go. Set up the correct paint scheme again. Everything underwater was blue-ish. We can just use the plain fill for this, plain fill for that, that. Unfortunately, plain fill doesn't work for rudders, so you just have to manually paint those. You're not supposed to be orange. Like that. Good. Right. I still need to paint this. And that in the back of it. And that over here. These parts. Oh, there's one block missing. Okay. I'd say we're good to go with this boat. Save it. Bloody McBoatface Mark II. Alright, just to check. We have the hydrofoils left and right, or front and back, that is. Start the engines. We have a speedometer. We can swivel the searchlight. We can turn off the nav lights. I might need interior lights. Come to think of it. Just a couple of base ones. Yeah, light. Need to make it a white light. One goes over there. One goes over here. I don't need mirror mode for that. These are going to be the interior lights. And from here we can go on that one and that one. Save it. Okay. Let's check about the weight. It is indeed quite top heavy. That over there is my center of mass. I can quite easily fix that by just deleting a good portion of the center hull of the boat and replacing those with weight blocks. Make sure you get the right color. You can see the center of mass come right down. Yeah, now it should be under the waterline. Should be. Save it. Spawn it. Let's see. Oh, the window frames need to be blue? Really, guys? Fine. This kind of blue? Is that the blue that you meant? Rather drown? Right. Got AA on that ship. No. Okay. So, you guys want this to be blue? Blue, blue. Oh my god, this is hideous. Now you're gonna tell me you want the beds yellow or something like that. What the hell? Look at this. This is... No. Okay. You thought the orange was better? I'll let you guys fight that out one, or that one out in the description down below. Yeah, I'm used to making videos, not streams. Let's connect that here. Do we really need to have the interior in another color as well? Black windows. Guys, I'm gonna have a different color of window every 5 minutes. What color do we want the interior? First one who replies now is gonna get the color. Yellow beds. Oh god, here we go. Alright. Mirror mode on. Yellow beds. There you go. Yellow sheets. And we're going to make that yellow and that yellow. There. Good luck trying to sleep on that. Pink. Black floor, black floor. Sorry, I'm going to go with black, not pink. It's just not happening. Black floor. There we go. Good. Yeah. This time I'll still see 17 interior paint designs. I'm going to take it out for a spin. Spawn it. And you're going to see that it sinks right down because I somehow deleted block for the hull. No, it's actually floating. Well, mostly. There's not supposed to be water in the boat, but that's not unusual. Interior lights on. Now this looks bad, but it really isn't. Is it safe for kids? I don't think so. Engines on. Speedometer says we're doing 15 kilometers per hour, 20. Seas are a bit rough. This is not ideal weather to be testing a hydrofoil. At all. Okay, we're doing 37. Now we're going to add the hydrofoils. Front hydrofoils to 0.16, rear hydrofoils. There we go, we're out of the water. Also thanks to the waves. See, we're just riding on the hydrofoils, which means less contact between the hull and the water. And because of that, more speed. Although, with this water, this way, ooh, it's hard to tell. It is quite hard to tell. I think you put too much weight in the bottom. Yeah, I might have. I might have indeed. Speed 34, we can put the hydrofoils on a bit more. Yeah, now we're staying out of the water. 36. Might need to add another engine and more props. Whoa! Can you make submarine? Yes and no. I can... Whoops, that's the wrong one. Look, if I do this and turn the hydrofoils negative, this thing will submerge. It is not ideal, and I am already dying. So let's turn that right back up. It's an engineering nightmare. Okay, let's get it back to the workbench. I'm not going to be touching the colors of those windows again. Let's add a few more engines. And more props. More speed's always a good thing. Well, until it kills you. Try it that. Wouldn't be the first time. Okay. Starting here, WA is D. I need to connect that there and there. Or sorry, that's W and S, so faster and slower. I now need to connect all of these things together. And all of those things together. Just how you set this up doesn't really matter from what I've seen, as long as they're all connected. Let's take a bit of weight out of the bottom, because that might have been a bit too much. Maybe it floats a little better like that. And yeah, it'll probably still get your feet quite wet on this boat. Alright. Try it again. Oh, I missed one part. I missed one part. I don't have the starter button for the engine set up. See, this one does have it. These two do not. So it would still just be moving around with one engine. Wouldn't work. Or, that's not entirely true. It would work, but it just wouldn't be very fast. It's already floating out of the dock. I haven't even touched it yet. Engine's on. Whoa, whoa. I think the rear hydrofoil just got stuck on the dock. Really rough seas. How fast are we going? 50? That's without the hydrofoils. Whoa. 55, 57, 60 almost. Nice. And that's without the hydrofoils. Good. Okay, so let's see how fast the thing can go with hydrofoils enabled. Front about 25. There we go. Out of the water. And we're suddenly doing 55. 7. I'm getting a pretty stable 60 out of this boat. Just need a mission for it. Nicely call out engine block. What did I make it? I didn't make the engine block blue, did I? That'd be weird. Now you'll notice that this thing, because it's out of the water so far, tends to listen quite poorly to its rudder. Steering is not exactly what it does for you. Look at these waves. Nice. Jeez. I'm still transferring quite a bit of power to the water. Now, I know I have beds on this boat, but I don't trust the beds to be far enough out of the water. And I have a hydrofoil in my other save game. I have a boat on it, or a bed on it, and at some point I slept in the bed and immediately died because a wave hit me. So that was lovely. Whoa. Okay, we're good. So at least the hydrofoils work. It does remind me a little bit, this weird contraption, of one of those things that they used to escape oil rigs. One of those escape rafts or things. Okay, despawn it for now. I'm gonna head up to the shed. Sorry, to my cabin. And sleep a bit. Wait for the next mission to come up. See whatever that is going to be. There we go. Lighthouse Delivery. Not the most fascinating missions, but I'll take it. Alright, the Lighthouse Delivery. That will have us transporting... Damn, that was a wave transiting right through the building. We're going to be dropping off some supplies at the lighthouse. Supplies are over here, lighthouse is over there. Quite the distance. Oh, we can buy that. That's nice. So, I'm gonna spawn in the boat. Is the opening big enough for the boxes? I wonder. Maybe. But not by much. Now it will probably fit. These are the boxes. These need to go. Replacement bowl. Yeah, I'll be right careful with that stuff. Whoa! Put that over there. You don't actually put these things on the chairs, but they just sort of get stuck behind them. Pick up that one. And... oh, no, not on top of the boat. Gee, it's floating right out of the boat. This is why you need hatches and doors. And this is not good ocean-going weather for my boat. It is not very good at surviving this sort of weather conditions. Or sea conditions. And yeah, had I not taken out that block, it probably would not have fit. Come on. Really? See, the problem is if I keep this thing out here, I don't think it's going to be out here for very long. It doesn't fit. Damn it. No, it just won't fit. Okay, we'll just have to see if I can keep that on board. Maybe, maybe not. Lighthouse. 5.7 clicks the other way. Alright, off we go. This is going to take a while. It's 5 clicks. We're doing about 50, 55, so we're taking about 70 seconds to do every kilometer. So this is going to be about 8 minutes to get to that lighthouse. Can you paint the supply boxes? No. They're not a player entity. What's with all the painting today, guys? Why do you want me to paint all the supply boxes and the boats and stuff? 5 clicks out. Shit, I lost one. Fell right off the back there. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Just that whole boat gets folded like that. Don't worry, box, we got a Coast Guard. It's only a replacement motor. Oh, there goes the other ones. Get them before they escape. Stay. That's not helping. I need to get that big box. Where did it go? No! Damn it. Come on. Is it on the boat? Am I on the boat? Just there go the boxes. Fortunately, these things do float. But this is going to be a... whoops. That was a bit too much of a throw. These things are going to go on the boat, and they're going to get washed right off again. Come on. I need to somehow trap this thing inside the cabin. I'm hoping that it doesn't wash out. Get it. Where's the other one? It's right. Stay here. Where is it? Oh, it's underneath the boat. Jeez, you got back quick. Come on, where's the other one? There, hello. This comes flying in. Okay, I now have all the boxes temporarily on the boat. Get moving. Move, move, move. There it goes again. This is gonna get annoying. Quick. Where's the box? Come on. I hope you don't mind if your replacement engine gets a little wet. Then again, I'm the Coast Guard, I'm not Amazon. Oh. Yeah, both of the other boxes are still here. Run, and off we go. Ah, really? Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Where is your replacement motor? Here we go. And that's on the boat. Do I still have the other two? I still have the other two. Excellent. Go! No! If I can ride the waves, I should be fine. As long as I'm on top of the waves, I'll live. And the boxes will stay here. The moment that a wave hits the ship and crashes over it, that's when I'm done. Whoa. There we go. Speed 55. Yeah, that 5-minute timing, or 6-minute timing to get over there, was not including delivering boxes, which happen to fall off the ship. Anyway, how are you guys liking the game so far? I know it's not always too interesting to watch, unless I'm trying to figure out a way to get boxes back on the boat. But that's because we just haven't gotten that advanced yet. It's a game we need to be patient. Jason, hey, welcome to the stream. .8 clicks. We're actually riding these waves like a surfboard. Whoa! I'm taking on water while we're doing it. Still doing about 60. You like the FedEx part? Yeah. There's going to be a lot of FedExing in this game. But then again, I found that to be a pattern amongst most, well, let's say RPGs. It's a lot of go here, get box, go there, drop off box, go here, get quest, go over there, kill person, go back. It's a lot of move, interact, return. That seems to be the trend. Maybe I should have made this thing a catamaran, come to think of it. Hydrofoils need to be a bit more over the water than the rear ones. There, that's slightly more stable. Although the replacement motor might disagree. 60, 63. Yeah, that's fine. Fortunately, we're at the lighthouse. Unfortunately, it might not be easy getting the boxes to where they need to be and keeping them there. Because if there's this much waves going on, then there's a very good chance that the boxes are going to wash right off the dock, or you need to put them down. Can you equip guns to the ships? Nope. At least not yet. If you want to equip guns on your ships, have a look at From the Depths. That's where you can have people rescuing gunboats, or maybe not so much rescuing. .6, almost there. Fortunately, that big box so far has been pretty well behaved and stayed on the boat. Not every game needs to be about guns. Correct. And that's what I kind of like about this game. You're not fighting any particular enemy, you're fighting the environment. Not in a PvE sort of way, although I suppose in many ways this is the more literal interpretation of PvE. This is literally the player versus the environment. You're fighting the sea, you're fighting to stay airborne with helicopters. It doesn't even need guns. Although plenty of people on Steam Workshop have been building ships which resemble destroyers, bombers, fighters. I've seen all sorts of units being designed and put up on the workshop over there. Okay, so there's the lighthouse. It's between a couple of islands. And we need to find a way through without ramming anything. Investigate distress flare right over there. Hang on. Okay, the waves. The waves aren't that bad. They're not crashing over that dock just yet. That's good. Okay, leave the controls. Get back here before the box decides to go take a swim. And here's your replacement motor. Miss. Here's that part you ordered, sir. Come on, get over here. Move, move, move. And here we go. One box delivered. Replacement bulb. Here you go. Whoops! Yeah, that'll surely be working. You may need to look into your warranty. A little bit. Whoa! The amount of distance that you can throw these things is ridiculous. Okay, they're now class as delivered. The fact that they're floating away, not my problem. Sorry, people. Okay, now we need to investigate that flare that is on that island up ahead. Where can we get up? I wonder. Oh, there's a loot crate over there. You see that thing? That box? We can get that. Okay, I hope that this thing isn't going to get slammed around too much. This boat that I have. We still need boat face to get out of here. Where's the loot crate? Here we go. Harness and 5k. Very nice. Alright, hello sir. We need to rescue the delivery person. Oh son, you're in for a rough ride. I won't manhandle you like I did those boxes. But are you sure you want to be on this boat in this weather? We need to go all the way back to the hospital. Alright. Do I have naggles and winches? No, not yet. I just did unlock them in the other game. Both the large winch and the small winch. The standard winch and the mag. Damn, those things are handy in combination. So at the moment the only way of connecting to a different vessel is using a connector. Oh, it's 6 clicks out, it's not 5-4. 5-4 is the waypoint. Okay. This time we're riding against the waves though. So the boat's even less predictable. Fortunately, the passenger is strapped into his seat over there. The delivery person. And we're gonna try and get that guy to the hospital. I hope he doesn't puke all over the boat. Oh. Six. Right into the wave. Using the hydrofoils this aggressively might not be a good idea. Every time we're just bouncing off of the water thanks to the hydrofoils. Look like the 4th of July. How's that? What are we doing for speed? About 50. If it goes with the waves, it's a lot faster. Going against it, not so much. Unfortunately. Hydrofoils in wavy water, not the best idea. No, not really. Whoa! I'm not sure boats are supposed to get airtime. See, I can completely whoa, not disable the hydrofoils like that. This is the hydrofoils pretty much set to none. You can see that the hull is back in the water again. But even despite that, I'm still getting hit pretty bad with these waves. Oh well, we'll get there. Eventually. A big wave. Whoa. Right through it. See, this is one of those situations where you cannot just put it on cruise control and walk away. Just doesn't work. These are getting rougher by the minute. Back down again. 3.8 out. 3.7. Looks even more intimidating from up here. The cockpit is closed off, with the exception of that thing back there. But that doesn't stop the game from just flooding it with water. Ozarks, State of Missouri. All for boats. It's for, yeah, right. I do know the Ozarks, sort of, but only from the Netflix show. Really interesting on a jet ski, yeah, imagine that. Really bouncing up and down in a wake like that. There's the oil rig, 2.8, halfway there. 25 minutes, we'll easily get the mission done. Figure out how not to run into another island. Seems to be clear. No other islands in the way. As of yet, that is. I'll keep bouncing a little. Ooh. Jumping on the wake of a big cruiser, nice. Anyway, as we're waiting to get to the hospital, let's do a bit of a Q&A. If you have any questions for me, let me know down in chat, and I'll do my best to answer them. Could be about the game, could be about the channel, could be about War Game for all I care. Whatever you like to know. Speaking of wakes, by the way, I think that the wake from the boats in Stormworks currently is very, very low. Very little going on. Most hated unit in Wargame. Depends if I'm on the receiving end or not. If I'm on the receiving end, I'd say the Atacams. Especially if I do the occasional stream, that thing is just a nightmare because people will stream snipe you. If I'm using it, I'm not really sure. What's a unit that I just never use? Oh, I know, the Weasel Mark 1. The autocannon on it is good, but slam on the hood and you punch through the armor. And aside from that, it won't get to the front line. Every time I'm looking at a Eurocore deck, I consider the unit, but I just cannot make that work. I just don't know how to make that work. I refuse to spend so much time micromanaging a unit and filling it up every time it decides to run out of fuel. Be careful not to park the ship on top of the dock. If I time it right, I might be able to jump out. Alright, dude. Come over here. Oh, goodbye, dog. Yep, we're on solid ground here. Okay, let's go. Again, not taking the shortcut, because you will run into the rocks over there. Which are climbable, but not easy. You need an anchor. Yeah, I do. Unfortunately, you need, if you want to build an anchor, it's ideal to get a winch. I don't have those. So I cannot have anything that's detachable or semi-detachable and lower my center of mass. So I cannot build an anchor just yet. We're stuck with this boat casually drifting off. You just have to swim after it. But at least our delivery person is safe. Delivery person, welcome to the hospital. Altimeter, compass ball, small wheel, and a whole bunch of cash. Which way was the boat? That way. How much cash do I have? 45k. At this rate, I'll be able to buy the big island very soon. There is one island that is really expensive to get. It's 150,000. But it has both a hangar for airplanes and helicopters, as well as a big dock. So you can build big ships in them. How long I intend to stream? I think maybe more, maybe in a half hour more. Something like that. Depending on what sort of mission we get. Ooh. Grab it. There you go. Okay, so we're pretty close to home. Let's get over there. This is not good weather for this boat. I don't think you could design many vessels in a small dock that can actually do well in weather like this. Especially with the very limited amount of parts that we have. Because unless I have a hinge or a door, I don't see how I can make this thing work. To be fair though, this is definitely the more interesting type of seas that you'll encounter in Stormworks. That's for sure. Oh. There's a life preserver floating back there. Must have washed off the dock here. Alright, we're home. What are the new parts that I got? I didn't get that many. Yeah, we got the gyro. Yeah, we got the harness. We got the tail rotor and the large rotor. We got the bed already. Indicator light, dial, compass ball, artificial horizon. We can add a compass ball. It's not really a critical piece of equipment, but might make it slightly more realistic. Oh, that won't fit because of the window. The compass ball. We can even add an artificial horizon to this boat. Considering the amount of waves that we're seeing, that might not actually be a bad idea. Also, the position of this speedometer is less than ideal. So we're gonna adjust that a little. Compass ball goes here. And the digital display for the speed goes here. Alright, connect that up. Value to display is that one. And that should do. Oh, I can have backlit displays when I turn the engine on. And same goes for that. Okay, I think that should do it. We can still save that under the Mark II because it hasn't changed that much. Replace the box, or yeah, good point. That was this side and that side. I don't have a hatch. I don't have a door. Yeah, I got a door frame, but that doesn't count. I cannot use that. I need to have some sort of way to create a separate entity. You can't do that yet. Don't have the winch. Nope. Don't have any of the robotic parts yet. No, I cannot really work anything with this. Alright, let's wait for another mission to pop up. Back to the cabin. And back to bed. Medevac ship worker. Ooh, in seas like this, that could be interesting. We need to transport him to the hospital from the oil tanker. Where's the oil tanker? Holy crap, that's far out. How far is that? 5 clicks. It's not too bad. We can do that. Seas are a little rough. Still. Spawn boating the boat phase in again. And controls. So now we have backlit controls as opposed to these things just being dark. This is slightly better. Interior lights on. Turn the spotlight on. Let's go get this guy off the tanker. And continue to crash through the waves. Badly. I might add. Slamming down onto the water each time. Fortunately, that doesn't damage parts. You can slam your hull, or any part of your hull, right down onto the water, and it doesn't damage the boat. Only when you come into contact with solid objects. Rocks, islands, other ships. That's when you can run into trouble. Pretty quick. Been there. Now, would any of you guys like to join me for the next stream? So we can have, for example, 2 separate missions going, or having one person as the pilot, or the driver of the boat, and the other person's crew member. Getting people, bringing them to the hospital, etc., stuff like that. Or operating with 2 boats. In case that's the case, then we need to link up. I think the easiest way to do that is through Discord. I'll give you the password, and you can link up with me there. We don't need to be friends on Steam, so if you want to join in, be sure to invite me, Stealth17 on Steam, and we can go on a mission together with Boating Boatface or any other creations that we design. And that is a restriction that I'm going to place on it. I only want stuff that's going to be designed on cam, or at least with the parts that we have. Otherwise, I think we're going to be having a bit of an explosion of all sorts of vessels. So I'm fine with you bringing your own designs, but make sure it is very, very vanilla and only has very limited parts, because I just don't have that much yet. Slowing down here. What's our speed? 55 still. See, it's way easier to have it up here than all the way looking down here. Can you post that boat on the workshop? Yeah, I can. It's not a particularly interesting boat. If you look on the workshop, there is far, far more interesting stuff. This thing is just a really, really basic one. After I'm done transporting this sick crew member, I can load up one of my bigger boats on the other save game. Not on this save, but I'll load up the other save. And I can show you some of the last, or some of the boats that I've already built there. And maybe a helicopter. I'm not sure which island I'm at. That's okay. 2 clicks out. Transferring the guy from his, I think, tanker to this boat should be interesting in this weather. Seas continue to be rough. Normally they just quiet down after some time. No such thing. Anyway, if those of you watching, how many have the game, I wonder? Can you post yes or no in the chat? Because I'm eager to see how many people actually have the game or considering buying it based on what you're seeing here. And in case you haven't gotten it, seriously, it is really, really good. It's only 15 euros, translating to about, what is that, $16, $17? 11 pounds, something like that. It didn't run well on your PC, really? How's that? Do you have an older PC, is that it? Maybe turn the graphics settings down? Although the graphics, generally, in this game are not the problem. So CPU... yeah, $15, it's not that bad. Ooh. That was really very time for this boat. Whew. Let's see, I can see the emergency flare from the tanker. Just look at these waves. Damn. This is why you ideally have one person who's going to swim over to that tanker, while the other one tries to sort of keep this boat, or any other ship that one might be using at that point, close to it. Because that is all but guaranteed in this weather. Look at that. I just went submerged. Okay. And there's the ladder. This is going to be tricky. Run, run, run. Whoa! You there. Come along. Uh-oh. Whoa! Don't get stuck underneath the tanker. That would be really bad. And also do quite a bit of damage to that boat. Alright, passengers with me. Good distance from the tanker. Don't run into it. Okay, that didn't damage the boat. Turn. There we go. Right back on course. Get a hydrofoil going. A bit more in the front. Yeah, we're riding a wave. This is good. Ooh. Speed, about 60. Good. It's a CPU problem. Okay. Can the ship sink? Yes, the ship can sink. It depends on how you build your ship. If there is a hole in the hull at some point. So, for example, in the lower hull, the whole section that I have locked off where the engines are, so the lower part like that. If any of that stuff gets damaged somehow through collision or because you delete a block, it'll go right down. But I haven't had it happen often yet. It is quite rare. .7 out. be a bit more stable. Hydrofoils are actually performing quite well in these seas. Still keeping the boat out of the water. Speed? Almost 60. Imagine in normal seas this thing would be very, very fast. Hold on, I only have 6 props on it? Yeah, this thing could be way faster. I need to add more props. Yeah, it's more of a submarine than a ship, absolutely. It's behaving far more like an unintentional sub. Well, it seems to be doing alright like this. Two clicks. Rocks on the right. Something with those things. Didn't work out too well last time. I.e. it flipped the whole damn boat. I think we're going to be playing in easy mode, because I want to continue the save game. Thomas. And I know that's not the most interesting part, because in advanced you can have a lot of very, very complex ships. But I just haven't quite worked that part out yet. And especially the design part and then testing ships would require constant refueling in advanced mode, which is really boring to do every time. So that's why I'm playing easy or basic mode. Just bounding up and down. 1200 meters. I think you can see the lights from our own base up there. That's the dock. Meters. $600. Now, the question is there a dock on this part of the island? Or do I need to go look for one which is on the, let's say, the side closest to my own base? Again, in this weather it's quite hard to tell. There's a dock over there, I think. And there's a dock over here. Good. Let's use that. You can barely make it out there. Ah, there you are. Hold. Alright, lady. Might get a little wet getting to that hospital. As long as you get the medical attention you so desire, you should be fine. Whoa! Need to get on the jetty here, not get washed off every time. Run. There you go. See, the way that they carry people is over their shoulders, but it looks like it's clipping right through my character. I can also say, hey, this is fun and everything, but you're just gonna walk, and they'll just follow you. You need medical attention? That's fine, you get to walk to the hospital yourself. Good luck. There you go. We get one winch. The stretcher and the artificial horizon. Okay. I can work with that. Alright, I'm gonna take this boat back to the basic dock. Oh, where are you going? Give you permission to leave. Inside, there we go. Okay, back to the dock. And then I'll give you a quick tour of some of my other creations. Meters out. 600. I feel like with this boat it doesn't really matter if I'm using the hydrofoils or not. I think the speed that the boat can get up to is not high enough to really make good use of hydrofoils. Even without hydrofoils... No, actually it is still sailing. Hydrofoils. Getting me about 5 to 10 knots, that's all. Alright. We're going to save boat in boat phase here. And we're going to exit. I'm going to save this game. We'll call it the stream save. And I'm going to quickly load mine. Now, as mentioned, I have a lot of hours in this particular campaign save. I have unlocked almost all of the parts. Let's see, where's Storm Chaser? Here, Storm Chaser Mark 6. This is Storm Chaser. Let me show you around. There we go, now we're talking about a boat. This thing is actually quite capable. It has almost everything that I need to execute almost any mission. Helo deck back here. Cargo hatch to actually store these boxes, but then again I don't have the hatch unlocked in the other save game, it's just not there. You can get to the bow or to the central ship like this. Yeah, it's a bit front heavy, but I'm not really sure why. Diving equipment, empty equipment compartments, firefighting equipment. Over on the right here we have a couple of sleeping quarters. Over on the left we have a small medical bay with stacked medical beds. You're on a ship, not a luxury resort. A couple of doors to get out onto the side and or the bow. A passenger area complete with impromptu tables. Lower deck. So this is the part of the boat that seems heavy. It almost seems like there's water in it, but there's really not. I also have bilge pumps to constantly pump the water out. I'm just not really sure why it's so front heavy. Maybe I need to have more float equipment or more float capacity over here. Rear part, engineering. These are the engine or the storage bays. This thing is being driven by 12 generators. That's a lot of engine power that it has. And this is actually the part that I'm most proud of. This is a dive chamber. What you have over here is a dial that tells you how much water there's in here. The door is currently open. I can close the door. This is the hatch to the underside of the boat. I can pump the water in. You can see that water is flooding. The dial is slowly filling up. Once it's all the way on the right side, the chamber is full. And you can see that the water is coming in here now. Open the dive hatch. And now I'm under the boat. So if I have operations under the boat, I can actually do that through this dive chamber here. I also have a harness over here, but that is something that doesn't really... Well, it doesn't really work in this particular shallow water. It's a 100 meter winch that's on there. Okay, get back in, close it. Oh, not open the door yet. Pump the water out. You can see it's draining and I'm already slowly going back. Now, you can open the door even if the water is not completely out yet. And the water will spill out onto this other compartment. If that happens, it's not really that much of a problem because it's going to very, very quickly get pumped out by the bilge pumps. Bilge pumps, in case you're unfamiliar with the term, pumps that are almost always running and that are there to just take out any water that might be in the boat. Alright. Bridge. Swiveling searchlights left and right. That's the searchlight over there and the one on the other side of the boat. So the one on the starboard side of the bridge over there. Turn those as I see fit. And turn them on and off. This one also controls the center searchlight. And center searchlight can be controlled separately. You can see it's swiveling left and right. Then I have front hydrofoil, rear hydrofoil. You wouldn't really expect it with a boat like this, but it does have hydrofoils. I also have a couple of big props on it. And the things that you can see over there on the side, those are water jets. With just the props, it's doing 30, 31. But then again, it's really, really calm seas. What the hell is that? Something wash off? Yeah, it looks like an instrument. Yeah, that's a tool storage washed out of the ocean. Anyway, once you're out in open water, turn on the hydrojets or the water jets. That thing really starts to get up to speed. Currently doing 50, and if I add some power to the hydrofoil so it actually gets lifted out of the water, I can usually get it up to about 80. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. There we go. 80 kilometers per hour. 85. And this thing can tackle almost any mission. It's waterproof. It can do virtually anything. It is, however, not the fastest way to get around, because those would be planes and potentially helicopters, depending on how fast you make those. Would it be possible to build a helipad on board? There is actually a helipad on board. It's on the back of the ship, behind those orange and yellow things. So yeah, I can land helicopters there. And I can actually do that too, come to think of it. They just need to be of smaller size for this particular vessel. If you have a bigger ship, then you can do it. Turn the water jets off. Slowly get into the dock here. And just let that coast. Get out onto the side, onto the bow. Just gonna grab a helicopter and show you that it can land, but not all of them can land. I have one cargo helicopter which is very, very large. It just doesn't fit, doesn't work well. The smaller one, definitely. You can easily fit that on there. I've had two on there actually. Yeah, this place definitely got hit by a tsunami. We're gonna get the... where is it? This one, the small helo with the magnets. This is the base helo that the game gives you. I just modified it a little bit. Alright, I want the auto hover on. I want the engine on. And here we go, we're flying. I just need to get it out of the hangar. Eventually. Forward a little bit down. Now you see those 4 buttons in the skids? Those are magnets. So if I turn those on, it'll connect itself to anything that it can find. It could be a surface of a ship, could be another vehicle. It can be anything. And you can use that even as a sort of way to lift stuff up. Now I'm not sure if this is going to fit properly if I put it bow on, but we'll see. Hold on. Lower it. Not too much. Thank God for the auto hover, by the way. The gyro is controlling this thing, otherwise it would be very difficult to control. And there we go. Rear connected. Front are connected. Oh, 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 don't get out yet. Tried that once, didn't quite work. Engines on. Oh, fuck. Engine on. One of those magnets isn't quite connected yet. Shit. Fine. We'll orientate it the other way around. And click. Engine off. Auto hover off. If you get out of your helo too soon, then you will just get your head chopped off. And there we go. Helo on the deck. That's how you can combine designs. So that now if I have, for example, somebody who I need to pick up quickly and who needs to get who needs to get brought to the ship, I can do that through the helo. My profile picture, guy in a ghillie suit. Yeah, that's me. Just send me an invite on there and we'll get hooked up. Alright, anyway, that's where I wanted to end the stream. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll probably be doing another stream on Stormworks soon. I'm not exactly sure when, but I'll fill you in through the Steam or through the YouTube channel, as per the usual. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be seeing you soon for more Stormworks. See you next time.